What if this video didn't reach you by accident? What if it appeared at the exact moment you needed to hear something uncomfortable, but true? What if the unease you feel is not weakness, but a signal? That sense of moving through days on autopilot, doing everything you're supposed to do, yet feeling strangely disconnected from your own life. Most people are not lost because life is hard. They are lost because they live without direction. Stoic philosophy warned about this long ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote that when you forget what is within your control, the mind becomes scattered and tired, not from effort, but from confusion. This feeling you're experiencing is not a problem to escape. It is a message asking you to pay attention, to stop drifting, to look honestly at where your time, energy, and focus have been going. This video is not here to entertain you. It is here to remind you of something you know. 1. You've been living on autopilot. You wake up and the day already owns you. Your phone decides your mood before your feet touch the floor. Your schedule tells you where to go, what to answer, and who you need to be. And somewhere along the way, without a clear moment you can point to, you stopped choosing. This is not failure. This is autopilot. Autopilot is dangerous because it feels normal. It doesn't arrive with collapse or crisis. It slips in quietly, disguised as routine, responsibility, and being productive. You complete tasks, meet expectations, and stay busy, yet something inside you remains untouched. The Stoics understood this condition deeply. Marcus Aurelius observed that people do not burn out from effort alone, but from living without intention. When actions are no longer guided by conscious choice, the mind grows restless even in a comfortable life. Autopilot tells you that later will be different. Later, you will slow down. Later, you will take control. Later, you will live. Later becomes a promise that keeps you compliant. When you live on autopilot, you react instead of respond. You absorb stress that does not belong to you. You chase approval without realizing it. You tolerate situations you would never accept if you were fully awake. Modern life feels exhausting, not because it is inherently brutal, but because it fragments your attention and drains it without asking permission. Stoic philosophy teaches that attention is your most valuable resource. Whatever holds your attention ends up shaping your character. Autopilot does not destroy self-respect all at once. It wears it down quietly, one small compromise at a time. You stop asking difficult questions. You stop examining habits that no longer serve you. You stop noticing how often you say yes when your body and mind are saying no. Epictetus taught that freedom begins with understanding what is and is not under your control. Autopilot reverses this truth. It hands control to impulses, notifications, expectations, and routines you no longer question. Over time, this creates a constant inner tension. You feel it as fatigue, irritability, or a sense that you are always behind. Your body shows up to life, but your mind is scattered. Your inner life feels compressed, as if something essential is waiting to be acknowledged. That discomfort you feel is not random. It is not weakness, it is a signal. Stoicism never encouraged escaping reality. It demanded meeting reality with clarity, to observe your actions honestly, to reclaim authorship over how you live. Autopilot itself is not the enemy, but remaining unconscious is a decision, whether you admit it or not. Awareness is the first act of strength, and awareness begins the moment you stop drifting. 2. Pain is the signal, not the enemy. Discomfort is not trying to destroy you, it is trying to get your attention. It is the part of you that refuses to stay asleep. Most people treat pain like a malfunction, something to numb, escape, or silence as quickly as possible. They distract themselves, stay busy, or convince themselves that what they feel is meaningless. Stoic philosophy takes the opposite stance. Pain is information, It is feedback from reality telling you that something is misaligned. When Marcus Aurelius wrote about inner disturbance, he never described it as a curse. He described it as a message revealing where judgment has drifted away from reason. Pain shows up when you live against your values, when you tolerate what you secretly resent, when you postpone what you know you must face. This is why discomfort feels personal. It is personal. It arises not from life attacking you, but from your own awareness pushing back against avoidance. The Stoics believed that the mind and character are shaped through friction, not comfort. If everything feels easy, smooth, and painless, it usually means you are not fully engaged with your own growth. Pain appears when growth is possible but resisted. Modern culture teaches you to fear discomfort. It tells you that if something feels heavy, it must be wrong. Stoicism teaches you to examine it instead. Ask what the pain is pointing to. Is it a boundary you failed to set? A truth you keep delaying? A responsibility you've been avoiding because it feels inconvenient or uncomfortable? Pain does not demand panic. It demands clarity. Discomfort is not weakness. Avoiding it is. When you listen instead of fleeing, pain becomes precise. It shows you where discipline is missing, where attention is misplaced, where energy is being drained by things outside your control. Epictetus reminded his students that it is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. Pain is often the result of repeatedly judging what you cannot control as something you should control. The body and mind eventually protest. Pain sharpens awareness. It narrows your focus. It forces honesty. This is why growth often begins at the point of discomfort. Not when things collapse, but when the inner tension becomes impossible to ignore. The Stoics did not glorify suffering, but they respected it. They understood that pain strips away illusion. It removes the false stories you tell yourself about being fine, being patient, or waiting for the right time. Pain brings you back to what is real. If you are feeling restless, tired, or unsettled, it does not mean something is wrong with you. It means something is trying to change. This signal is not asking you to run faster. It is asking you to stop, look inward, and take responsibility for what you can still shape. Pain is not the enemy you must defeat. It is the guide you must listen to. And once you understand that, it stops controlling you. 3. Why this video found you. Now, this moment is not random. Your attention is not here by coincidence. Something in you was ready to hear this. Most people stumble across content every day without absorbing any of it. They scroll, skim, and move on. But there are rare moments when something makes you stop, when words land heavier than expected, when a message feels uncomfortably accurate. The Stoics believed that readiness matters more than timing. Truth does not arrive when life is calm. It arrives when the mind is prepared to see clearly. You didn't find this video because everything is going well. You found it because something feels unresolved. Because the autopilot stopped working. This is usually the point where illusion breaks down. The illusion that you have more time. The illusion that things will fix themselves. The illusion that ignoring discomfort will make it disappear. Seneca warned that the greatest waste of life is postponement. Not because people are lazy, but because they assume clarity will arrive later. In reality, clarity only appears when confusion becomes unbearable. This is that moment. When routines feel empty. When motivation no longer responds to rewards. When distraction stops numbing what you feel. These are not signs of collapse. They are signs of readiness. Stoicism teaches that wisdom becomes accessible only when the ego is tired of defending false stories. When you no longer want excuses, just truth. At that point, even simple ideas carry weight. Responsibility no longer feels like punishment. Discipline no longer feels restrictive. Control begins to look like relief. You are here because resistance has weakened. Because pretending is exhausting, because you are ready to stop negotiating with yourself. The Stoics never believed in fate as a passive destiny. They believed in alignment. When your inner state reaches a certain point, you become capable of hearing what was always available. The message did not change. You did. This video didn't gain meaning because of clever words. It gained meaning because your attention finally slowed down enough to receive it. Most people miss this window. They feel discomfort and rush to escape it. They numb the signal before it finishes speaking. You didn't. That matters. This moment asks for honesty, not intensity. You don't need dramatic action or emotional promises. You need clarity, a clear look at what you control, a clear admission of what you've avoided, a clear decision to stop living reactively. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul becomes dyed by the color of its thoughts. What you focus on now will quietly shape who you become next. This is a pivot point, not because life demands it, but because you are ready for it. You don't need to feel inspired, you need to feel awake. And awakening rarely feels comfortable at first. 4. You can't control life, but you can control yourself. Life will never slow down for you. Circumstances will never wait until you feel ready. Control was never meant to be found outside of you. Most frustration comes from fighting the wrong battles. You try to manage outcomes, other people's behavior, the timing of events, and the opinions that surround you. When those things resist, as they always do, tension builds. Stoic philosophy begins with a simple but ruthless distinction. There are things within your control, and there are things that are not. Peace begins the moment you stop confusing the two. You cannot control what happens, but you can control how you respond, and that changes everything. Marcus Aurelius returned to this idea constantly, not because it was comforting, but because it was necessary. As an emperor, he faced war, betrayal, illness, and loss. Yet he reminded himself daily that his true power lived in his judgments and actions. The world could pressure him, but it could not command his character unless he surrendered it. Most people suffer because they surrender control without realizing it. Every time you replay a conversation you cannot change. Every time you worry about a future you cannot predict. Every time you try to manage how others see you. That is energy spent outside your authority. Stoicism does not ask you to stop caring. It asks you to care intelligently. To invest effort only where effort has leverage. When you place your sense of stability in external conditions, you become fragile. When you place it in your own conduct, you become grounded. This is why self-control is not restriction. It is alignment. It brings your attention back to the one place where your choices actually matter. You feel calmer when you stop chasing certainty. You feel stronger when you stop resisting reality. You feel clearer when you stop arguing with what already is. Epictetus taught that freedom is not having what you want, but wanting what aligns with reason. This shift does not happen emotionally at first. It happens intellectually. You decide to stop reacting automatically. You pause. You question the impulse. You choose your response deliberately. Over time, this discipline builds a quiet confidence that does not depend on circumstances cooperating. Control is not loud. It does not announce itself. It stabilizes you from the inside. When something goes wrong, the Stoic question is never, "Why is this happening to me?" It is, "What is mine to do with this?" That single question pulls you out of victimhood and back into agency. It does not remove difficulty, but it prevents chaos from entering your inner world. You stop wasting energy on resistance and redirect it into action. This is the pivot most people avoid. Because it removes excuses. Because it demands ownership. You cannot control life's storms, but you can control how you hold the wheel. And once you accept that responsibility, life stops feeling overwhelming and starts feeling navigable again. 5. The moment you stop running, strength returns. Running feels productive. Avoidance feels like movement, but neither creates strength. Most people don't run from danger. They run from discomfort, from conversations they don't want to have, from decisions that demand responsibility, from quiet moments where their thoughts might catch up to them. Modern life makes this easy. You can stay distracted forever and still appear functional. Stoic philosophy cuts through this illusion. What you avoid does not disappear, it waits. And while it waits, it shapes you. Avoidance drains strength silently. Confrontation restores it. Every time you postpone what needs attention, you train yourself to feel smaller, not weaker in a dramatic sense, but less grounded, less solid, less aligned. The Stoics believe that character is forged by facing what resists you, not by escaping it. Seneca warned that anxiety grows not from events themselves, but from the delay in meeting them honestly. The longer you run, the heavier the thing you are running from becomes. You feel this as background tension, as mental noise you can't fully turn off, as fatigue that rest doesn't fix. Running does not mean physical escape. It shows up as overthinking, as busyness, as constantly preparing without acting, as waiting for the perfect mood, the right timing, or the right words. These are not neutral behaviors. They reinforce hesitation. They teach your nervous system that difficulty is something to fear rather than engage. Strength returns the moment avoidance ends, not when the problem is solved, but when you stop turning away from it. Stoicism teaches that courage is not emotional confidence. It is correct action in the presence of discomfort. When you face what you have been avoiding, something immediate happens internally. The mind stabilizes. The body relaxes. Even if the outcome is uncertain, your sense of integrity is restored. You're no longer split between knowing and avoiding. That split is what drains you most. You don't need to fix everything. You need to face one thing honestly. This might be a conversation you've delayed, a habit you know is eroding your discipline, a truth about your direction that you've been unwilling to admit. Facing it does not mean dramatic confrontation. It means stopping the internal negotiation. No more excuses, no more future promises, just presence. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you should not act as if you had 1,000 years to live. Not as a threat, but as a reminder. Delay feels safe, but it steals momentum. When you act, even imperfectly, you regain authorship over yourself. Action shrinks fear. Avoidance enlarges it. Strength is not built by intensity, it is built by alignment. The moment you stop running, you reclaim energy. Not because the path is suddenly easy, but because your mind is no longer divided. You move forward with less resistance because you are no longer fighting yourself. That is where Stoic strength lives. Quiet, grounded, unapologetic. 6. Discipline is the door you've been avoiding. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline stays, and that is why it feels intimidating. Most people wait to feel ready before they act. They look for the right mood, the right energy, the right moment. Stoic philosophy rejects this approach entirely. Action does not follow motivation. Motivation follows action. Discipline is not a punishment imposed on your life. It is the structure that gives your life shape when emotions are unreliable. Discipline feels heavy only at the beginning. What exhausts you is the lack of it. Without discipline, every decision becomes a debate. You negotiate with yourself in the morning. You argue with your impulses during the day. You justify delay at night. This constant inner friction drains more energy than effort ever could. Marcus Aurelius wrote that human beings are designed to do the work of a human being, not endless labor, but purposeful action aligned with reason. When that alignment is missing, even rest feels restless. Discipline removes noise. It simplifies choice. It restores clarity. The Stoics did not see discipline as rigid self-denial. They saw it as self-respect in action. When you choose to wake up at a consistent time to do what needs to be done before what feels good, you are not being harsh. You are reducing chaos. You are protecting your attention from being scattered by impulse. Over time, this creates a sense of internal order that no external success can replace. Most resistance to discipline comes from identity. You tell yourself it's not who you are, that you're not that kind of person. This belief is convenient, but false. Discipline is not a personality trait, it is a practice. Epictetus reminded his students that we become what we repeatedly do, not what we intend, not what we admire. What you practice daily trains your character quietly. If you practice delay, you become skilled at avoidance. If you practice follow-through, you become reliable to yourself. Discipline builds trust with yourself, and trust creates confidence. This confidence is different from bravado. It is calm, it is stable. You stop doubting yourself because you have evidence. Evidence that you do what you say you will do, even when it's uncomfortable. That evidence compounds. One small disciplined action leads to another, not through excitement, but through momentum. You don't need extreme routines. You need consistency. Stoicism emphasizes small, repeatable actions over dramatic gestures. Waking up on time, doing the hardest task first, limiting what drains attention. These choices seem minor, but they reshape how you experience yourself. You begin to see yourself as someone who acts rather than reacts, someone who decides rather than drifts. Discipline is not the opposite of freedom, it is the condition for it. When your life has structure, your mind has space. You are no longer pulled in 10 directions by impulse. You move deliberately, calmly. This is why discipline feels like a door. On one side is resistance and negotiation. On the other side is clarity and strength. Most people stand in front of that door their entire lives, waiting to feel ready. The Stoic steps through it anyway. 7. Memento Mori. This is not a rehearsal. You do not have as much time as you think. That truth feels uncomfortable. That is why most people avoid it. Stoic philosophy never used the idea of death to create fear. It used it to create urgency. Memento Mori was not a threat. It was a lens, a way of stripping illusions from daily life. When you remember that your time is finite, distractions lose their power. Trivial conflicts shrink. Procrastination becomes harder to justify. You begin to see your days not as something to survive, but as something to use. Most people live as if life is a rehearsal, as if meaning can wait, as if clarity will arrive later. Seneca warned that life is not short, but we make it so by wasting it. Wasting does not always look dramatic. It looks like delay. It looks like staying in situations that drain you. It looks like postponing difficult decisions in exchange for temporary comfort. Death is not the enemy Stoicism asks you to fear. Regret is. Memento Mori cuts through denial. It forces priority. It demands honesty. When you accept that this life is not a practice run, your standards change. You become less willing to tolerate what erodes your character. You become more careful with what receives your attention. You stop bargaining with yourself about what you already know must be done. This awareness does not make you reckless. It makes you precise. You do not need to rush. You need to stop wasting time. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that he could leave life at any moment, and therefore must act and speak with integrity now. This thought did not paralyze him. It sharpened him. It removed excuses. It clarified responsibility. When time feels infinite, discipline feels optional. When time feels limited, discipline becomes obvious. Memento Mori is not about morbid thinking. It is about alignment. Ask yourself one simple question. If this were the final chapter of your life, would your current actions reflect who you claim to be? This question is not meant to shame you. It is meant to orient you. Awareness of death brings life into focus. It strips away noise and reveals what matters. You are not here to drift. You are here to live deliberately. This is not a rehearsal. This is the only stage you get. And remembering that changes everything. 8. This is your line in the sand. There is a moment when understanding becomes responsibility, when insight turns into a demand for action. This is that moment. Stoic philosophy is not meant to be admired. It is meant to be lived. Knowing what is within your control means nothing if you continue to act as if it isn't. Seeing clearly does not change your life. Acting clearly does. This is where many people stop. They consume ideas, feel understood, and then return to the same patterns. The Stoics warned against this trap. Wisdom that does not shape behavior is just entertainment. Clarity without action becomes frustration. Action without clarity becomes chaos. A line in the sand is not a dramatic declaration. It is a quiet decision, a refusal to keep betraying what you know to be true. You do not need to change everything at once. You need to stop crossing your own boundaries. Stop agreeing to habits that weaken you. Stop postponing actions that strengthen you. This is not about perfection. It is about integrity. You know what needs to change. You always have. The mind often pretends it needs more information. In reality, it needs courage. Courage to choose discomfort over convenience. Courage to disappoint others rather than abandon yourself. Epictetus taught that every situation presents a choice between the easy path and the correct one. The correct one rarely feels rewarding at first. That is why so few take it. This is where Stoic strength becomes real, not in thought, in behavior. Drawing a line in the sand means deciding who you will no longer be. The person who reacts automatically, the person who delays endlessly, the person who waits for motivation to save them. You step into a different role, someone who acts with intention, someone who measures progress by discipline, not mood. This decision does not need witnesses. It needs consistency. Marcus Aurelius wrote that a person's worth is measured by the things they devote themselves to. Where will your effort go from here? Toward distraction or toward development? Toward avoidance or toward responsibility? This choice is not made once. It is made daily, quietly, through small actions that compound over time. You do not rise to your potential. You fall to your habits. This video was never meant to change you. It was meant to remind you. Nothing here is new. You already knew these truths. You just needed to hear them when you were ready. Stoic philosophy does not promise comfort or easy answers. It offers clarity, responsibility, and control where control still exists. You cannot rewrite the past, but you can decide how you move forward from this moment. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, if this message resonated, do not let it fade into entertainment. Take one disciplined action today. Prove to yourself that awareness leads to action. Your life is still yours to command.